Ladies and gentlemen, hi, my name is David Ruff, and I operate in the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada. Now, today we're going to be talking about the housing affordability indexes compared to what the Toronto Real Estate Board and other boards are telling us, what are the prices of them, because we have to actually take this information that they're giving to us and try to decipher it on our own, because the reality is always somewhere different. Do you know how sometimes you will send before a judge? If you ever had to go before a judge, the plaintiff might say one thing, the defendant might see the other, and maybe, just maybe, the truth will be somewhere down the center. So you have to hear all sides, and you have to figure out for yourself what is really going on here. That's what we're going to be talking about today: housing affordability. Let's get into it. All right, guys, let's pull up the first document that we're going to be talking about today. My goodness, is this ever a crazy one? All right, so this is the Housing Affordability Monitor. You can get this by going to the National Bank of Canada. Just type in Housing Affordability Monitor. You can see the title right at the beginning: Housing Affordability, the worst deterioration in 41 years. You cannot take that lightly. You cannot take that lightly, that it is the worst deterioration in 41 years. If you go and look at this, housing affordability has worsened by 10.4% in quarter two. 6 consecutive quarters. Now, what I love is I love charts. I love them like crazy. So if you go to the National Bank of Canada, you can see that exact report. But there is a chart here that shows that in 1981, the cost of, now this is kind of hard to conceptualize, the median mortgage amount compared to the median income amount. Median mortgage versus median payment. Okay. So in 1981, Vancouver was all the way up to 105% of the average, the median income to pay for a home. How could you pay over 100% of the median income for a home? Absolutely crazy. That was the absolute high. Again, it spiked in 91, but as you see that in the early 2000s, they're all sitting around 50%. But then it skyrocketed. Where are we today? So remembering 81 was the worst. If we come back to today, Vancouver is now extremely high, 95%. Vancouver is at 90%. You cannot have price rises like that without some severe consequences. That's going to happen no matter how we slice it, right? Now, this document has a ton of data in it, and it's nice reading it, but there's a lot of charts. I think the charts is where you're going to get the most value from all of this stuff. Now, the difference between these guys: worst deterioration, 41%, 91%, 100% for housing, Okay, super high. Now let's go over to what the Toronto Real Estate Board is giving us. The Toronto Real Estate Board says that in July, new listings across Ontario is only up 6%. Only up 6%. Then if we go down a little bit, it says the average price of homes sold is only gone down 0.5%. I need you to look at this. 6%, only 6% more listings. Don't worry about it. Nothing to worry about. Okay, then we look at the price has only gone down 0.5%. 0.5. So this is where we now have to start figuring out for our own, what is the truth behind all of this? Because number one side is telling me barely any more homes are coming on the market. The price has barely fluctuated at all. Number two, we have the other report from the National Bank of Canada saying it's the worst deterioration in affordability in 41 years. So where is the truth? Where is the truth behind these two different things, right? And this is where you have to figure that out, because as we're going through the markets looking right now, we have one home that we're selling over in London. There was 0 homes for sale for 6 months. And now there's like 15 or 16 homes for sale. The prices of those townhomes, while we're talking about it, went from $850,000 and have dropped down to $650,000. In Toronto, the city of King is down 50%. We're talking about detached homes. Brampton, prices are down 40%. Mississauga, it's down 35%. But if you come and look at the numbers that they're giving you, They're saying, don't worry, it's only down 0.5. But again, this is what happens when you look at data across an entire province where there's so many people living. In addition, if you look at the Canadian Real Estate Association, so these are the guys that are promoting the interest of real estate and agents across the country. They said home sales are down, yes, but there's more, only 6% new listings, barely anything. And the average price of homes sold across Canada is only down 5%. People wouldn't even sneeze at 5%. They wouldn't even care about that. Now let's look at this map. So all across the West, including BC, up 2.7%. Man, the only places Ontario that is down, and the Maritimes are on fire, 26%, 23% up, and 18% up. That is not what is happening in the individual markets. This is why I always say that real estate is so subjective, because there are a million markets inside of one market. So I live in Toronto, Ontario. So you can be in one neighborhood, one tiny neighborhood, only a couple blocks across from each other. And in that one neighborhood, there'll be a commercial property that is down in value and a small townhouse that is up in value. And then you can also have a small condo that's up in value and a detached home that's cratering in price, all within 2 blocks. So it's not just the neighborhoods that matter, it's the type of property that you actually are in. That's the main thing. So just really pay attention to this, because to me, these types of numbers are incredibly deceptive. So this is not what we're seeing in reality, just so that you know. But what we are seeing are these numbers when it comes to affordability. Interestingly, if we look at the National Bank of Canada again, under the global perspective on housing affordability, we can see that the number one place with the most inflation, this is bad, right? The number one place is Turkey. It's up 50%. Of course, Turkey is printing so much money that it's out of control. But New Zealand, Australia falls after that, 25%, 23%. That is because of inflation. But then after, Russia is there. Well, Russia, we know what's happening in Russia with the war, but Canada is there and America, and they're only like number 6 and 7 on the list or something like that. They are super, super, super high inflation. And this number is much closer to real inflation rather than stated inflation. This is probably the correct number for the inflation number. So Canada is sitting at 18.1%, which is right around where we should be. Around 17 or 18% is what real inflation is today. So even though that they'll say, whether you're in the States or Canada, 8 or 9% inflation, you and I know, as people who are going to buy stuff at the store, food is not up 8%. It's up way more than that. Gas is up way more than 8%. Housing is up way more than 8%. Everything is up more than 8%. So this is a better way for you to look at it. In addition, they have a list here of the price per square foot of downtown apartments. Hong Kong is the greatest price. It's absolutely crazy. $3,000, $3,200 for 1 square foot downtown. Absolutely crazy. New York City sitting at $1,900 or $1,800. Now, if we go down, Vancouver is sitting here at $878 a square foot, and Toronto is at $854 per square foot. Remember, Toronto is not selling at $854 a square foot for most condos, but they're including not just the downtown, the entire city, including some of the suburbs, and they're including the big properties and the small properties. They're including all the different kinds of properties. So that makes a big, big, big difference. But Vancouver and Toronto, even Ottawa, Quebec City, Winnipeg, they're all on that list. But the other cities are not as bad. We're talking about keeping Toronto and Vancouver out of that top spot, but it's way, way up there. It's company: Berlin, Paris, London, San Francisco, Boston, Tokyo, New York, and Hong Kong. Those are the only cities that are more expensive than that. So in a global perspective, Canada's housing inflation, some of the worst in the world. Canada's price per square foot is some of the worst in the world. Very, very high. When we look at perspective on non-condos affordability, so that is buying an actual home, these numbers are even worse than us looking at the blend between condos and home. If we take a look at this, it says that for you to live in Vancouver, 120% of your income has to go to housing. You see that? 120%. How can I spend more than 100% on anything, first of all? But how can 120% of the average income go to paying off a mortgage payment? In Toronto, we are now at 98%. 98% in Toronto of an average income to pay for an average mortgage payment. Absolutely crazy. We cannot keep going like this. So it's not really a surprise, right? That it has gotten this bad. But ever since what happened in 2020 happened, we printed so much money that the prices of everything gone up. So you've seen the price of everything from food and energy and everything go up by 50%. And that's what we have to be careful of. So my caution to you is use your own knowledge base, what you know. Try to read books like this. The End of the World is just the beginning. Ray Dalio's really good book. Like, I'm not paid to recommend them. I'm just saying that they're fantastic books. But expand your mind and see where we are, because you're going to have to make some moves. And if we don't, we're going to get smooshed. And I don't want that. Anyway, you guys, I'm always here for your health, wealth, and happiness, as you know it. And if you know one person that this can actually help, I'd love it if you could send it to it. Please remember to subscribe to this. Send it to somebody, like this video, hit the notification bell just to let you know when I put out a new thing. I'm trying to put out new videos every day to keep you up. This is a crazy world and things are changing every day. So we got to be on it. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks very much. Have a great night.